But things don't stop there, as Sky becomes more condescending and insulting to Anthony as time goes on. Sky wasn't really happy that Anthony was asking for help and starts to insult him, and Anthony gets frustrated with the way that he was getting treated, and he doesn't even get a proper break as there was still a lot of work to do, and he gets angry and decides to talk to Ernest in private. First look at the president and CEO of Buffet Inc., Anthony Rido. Headquartered in South Carolina, Buffet Inc. is America's largest buffet provider. He'll be going undercover as Mike, a construction worker, competing for business funding to change his life. For his first job, he travels to Lake Charles, Louisiana to work under the manager, and he meets up with Ernest and he takes him to the kitchen and hands him over to the dishwasher Sky. Things with Sky don't really start well, as Sky just dumps all his work on him and just watches Anthony do it. Anthony doesn't really know how to use the kitchen's dishwasher properly, so he asks Sky to help him and instruct him, but Sky was not interested in helping him, and he was just happy skipping work that day as he could just make Anthony do everything. But this wasn't really feasible, especially with the lack of experience. Anthony then goes to Ernest and asks to talk to him in his office, and as they leave, we hear Sky insulting him back in the kitchen.
Dude was aggravating out of me with his ponytail. Trying to tell me you only gave me a 1 minute training, bitch. You're only here for a day.
And Anthony reveals his true identity to Ernest and tells him about Sky, and he tells him that the way that Sky is interacting with employees is toxic, and that as the manager, Ernest needs to remove that kind of person from the restaurant. After his disastrous first undercover job, Anthony travels to Fresno, California to work as a cashier. He meets up with Michelle, and just from the start, these two have a good communication, and Michelle teaches him how to properly greet customers and operate the cash register. Later, he learns that Michelle is a very hardworking woman who was also taking care of her mom since she was young. For his last job, Anthony travels to Alexandria, Louisiana to work as a server. He meets with Whitney, who takes him around the tables and shows him how to interact with customers and take orders. Anthony then tries to do the job by himself, and although he was good at taking orders, he was very awkward while talking to the customers. While on their break, Anthony learns that Whitney has 2 daughters, which she and her husband support, but since their job doesn't really pay well, she's at risk of getting evicted from her apartment soon. Finally, Anthony's undercover time comes to an end, and he invites his employees to one of the restaurants to reveal his true identity. First in were Ernest and Sky, and Anthony lets out his frustration with Sky and confronts him about his horrible behavior. Sky then apologizes for his behavior and explains it was because he was trained that way. Ernest also believes that Sky can change, so he and Anthony decide to give Sky a second chance and retrain him properly. Sky was grateful for the second chance and promises that he won't disappoint.
I got my own back so it feels relieved. It feels real good.
After that was Michelle, and she was a great employee, so Anthony gives her $15,000 as a bonus and another $15,000 so she can go to college to get her dream job.
I can't believe what just happened out there. I'm shocked. I haven't had opportunities since my mom passed away.
Last in was Whitney, and he tells her that he was very impressed with her and gives her a massive promotion that will double her earning, and then gives her $10,000 to pay off her car, and then surprises her with an offer to buy a 3-bedroom family home with everything paid off.
I just got a house. It feels like a dream come true. That is the best way to put it. It is a dream come true.
Let's now follow our next boss, the co-founder and CEO of Brightstar Care, Shelly Sun. Brightstar Care is a full-service private healthcare company serving more than 10,000 families across the nation. Shelly started the company when she realized how hard it was to get good care for her husband's grandmother. Shelly wants to go undercover because she feels like she's been disconnected from the people on the front lines, and she also wants to see if her customers are getting taken care of. Shelly will be going undercover as Linda, while JD will be going undercover as Casey. For Shelly's first job, she travels to Sierra Vista, Arizona to work as a children's caregiver, and she meets up with James at a customer's home, and he takes her to the children's room. There were 4 children, and they first start with changing their diapers. While working together, Shelly sees just how good James is with kids, and he's able to clean, clothe, and feed all the kids and keep them happy the whole time. And even then, she had somebody helping her, so she really struggles at this point. Meanwhile, JD arrives at an independent living facility to also work as a caregiver. He meets up with George and he shows him around and they start to take care of old people. And this location is not really owned by Bright Star Care, and their main job is to just help out when there are more customers. They start their work by doing laundry and then wash the dishes, and JD learns that when a new worker comes in the company, they don't really train them, so they struggle to properly care for the customers. Next, JD and George go to the bingo room to entertain the customers, but JD struggles to be a good caller as he wasn't really loud enough for them to hear him, nor was he fast.
27.
Oh, louder than that.
I-27.
But in the end, he still manages to have fun with them and ends his day with a smile on his face. After their day, JD and Shelly meet up at their hotel and share their experiences. The next day, Shelly was continuing her journey and she travels to Oakland, California to work in a nursing home. She meets up with Arlene and they get right into a job, and they first start with cleaning up elderly customers, and Arlene's main job is hygiene, which means that she cleans people who can't do that for themselves.
Stuff we do for ourselves hygienically, we do for them.
Arlene is also very friendly with her customers, and they love her as well, and this time, Shelly does a great job with her tasks, impressing Arlene. On their break, Shelly learns that Arlene is gonna go to school to become a registered nurse. For her last job, Shelly travels to Centerville, Ohio to work with a practical nurse. She meets up with Lisa and they travel to a customer's home, and practical nurses are more educated and handle more serious problems, so she wants to see how well her employees were doing the job. Lisa first teaches her how to take a pulse, and they do a heart rate and also a strength test. She was really good at her job, and she's also great with the patients, and Shelly's proud to have her as an employee.
I just want to make sure that you have no questions before we leave.
You're more than welcome, anytime.
Okay, well, I'll take you up on that.
And later, Shelly learns that Lisa has 6 children, and Lisa and her husband also used to work in General Motors, but it got shut down, so they're now struggling to find a good paying job. Bright Star offers good jobs, but they're all part-time ones, so Lisa's not getting enough money to support her family.
I'm proud that Lisa wanted to stay with Bright Star, but also sad as to how much personal stress that must cause.
Shelly's undercover time finally comes to an end, and she invites her employees to her office to reveal her true identity. First in was James, and she tells him that he was a wonderful employee and gives him $5,000 on a fully paid vacation.
To take my mom, because usually I don't see her that much. I want to do something for my mom because of all the good things that she has taught me in life.
Next in was George, and Shelly didn't really spend time with George, but JD has told her that he's a great employee, so she offers to pay for his nursing school, and on top of that, she offers him a promotion to a global ambassador for Bright Star.
I appreciate that. I feel overwhelmed. Yeah, I just feel like it's something that I do all the time anyway.
And she then offers her a franchise spot and offers to pay for a franchising fee.
My life has changed drastically. I just want to jump for joy right now, I'm not gonna lie.
Last in was Lisa, and she thanks her for being a great employee and then offers her a fully paid vacation, and then tells her that she's gonna get paid as a full-time employee, and also offers to pay for their mortgage.
I've never had imagined anything like this, and I will be forever, ever thankful.
Mack Trucks is an iconic American brand that's been building vehicles in the US for more than 100 years, and more than 5,000 employees make Mack Trucks the second manufacturer of heavy-duty trucks in the world. Overseeing this $4 billion corporation is the president and CEO, Denny Slagle.
I'm Denny Slagle, I'm president and CEO of Mack Trucks.
He wants to make sure that the people left are doing well, and he wants to hear their honest feedbacks and see if there's anything that he can help with. He'll be going undercover as Roger Donovan, an unemployed contractor looking to start a new career, and his employees will be asked to rate his performance and recommend him for a job. For his first job, he travels to Hagerstown, Maryland to work in the engine assembly plant. This is where all Mack truck engines are built, and he wants to see how they're doing with the major upgrades that the plant has gone through. He meets up with Tracy, and she teaches him how to build finishing parts for an engine, and Tracy shows him everything she does. Denny then takes the station, but he can't remember what she taught him, so she had to tell him again, which makes the process a lot slower.
10 seconds in the hole.
This is pressure, this is stress.
Uh-oh.
He also messes up a couple of times and the coordinator had to jump in and fix the issue, and by the end of the day, he almost finishes an engine without messing it up. While working together, he sees Tracy's really good at her job and she also loves doing it too. He also learns that she was an employee in one of the plants that got shut down, and she tells him that though she's really good at her job, she still fears that the company is going to keep firing people and worries about how she will support her kids if she doesn't have a job anymore. For his next job, he travels to Baltimore, Maryland to work in Parts Distribution Center.
The Baltimore Parts Distribution Center. These parts warehouses supply parts to dealers who in turn get it to the customers.
He meets up with material technician Mike, who takes him on a forklift ride across the warehouse and then shows him how to operate the forklift and get the necessary products for the specified locations.
What you need to know today is the location, the part number, and the quantity.
Right.
So we're going to hit the 10, 13, 15A.
Denny then takes the wheel and he's shaky and starts bumping into stuff, and he doesn't know the layout of the warehouse, so he takes a long time to find the product location.
Slow down, dude. Roger made me very nervous and a little shaky.
On their break, he learns that Mike has worked for the company for 34 years, and from all his years, this has been the time when he feels that employees are not being appreciated at all. He also fears that all the plants are going to shut down and move abroad. The next day he travels to Macungie, Pennsylvania to work in the assembly operations.
Today I'm in Macungie. I'm going to be on the assembly line. Just this year we've had to do a huge upgrade to our emissions control.
And he meets up with Alan, and he first teaches him how to build an exhaust tank panel.
Small screws. Sometimes I run my screws loose, then tighten them later. Push a little bit to get started. There you go. All right.
Alan cares more about quality of the work than speed, so he lets Danny do the job slowly and perfectly. But even though things were slower, this was still a very hard job for Danny to do, as he struggles with the way that Alan teaches, but he still does a better job than the rest. On their break, he learns that Alan has a special needs grandchild who needs 24-hour nursing care, and that he's also working longer hours so he can support his grandchildren.
Run through doctors to find out what's wrong with the children is every parent's nightmare.
For his last job, he stays at Macungie, Pennsylvania to work on the assembly line.
Today I'm back in Macungie and I'm going to join the assembly line again.
He meets up with Jeff and she shows him how to build the bumper, and he then shows him how to put the bumper on the truck and properly connect it.
All right, got it. Now we got to tighten it up.
They then build an exhaust pipe, and Denny learns how the full assembly line works, and they then set up the exhaust pipe on the truck before going out for a lunch break. Jeff takes him home and shows him his garage, which stored multiple generations of Mack trucks, as Jeff loves Mack trucks and has been a collector for quite a while now.
This is a 1970 Mack, so this baby is 40 years old. She's had a couple of engines put in her already.
So what he does is finding beat up trucks and rebuilding them in his free time.
Turn over, but we weren't going to fire this up.
I won't test it.
I got a little problem that we're working on.
And finally, Denny's undercover time comes to an end, and he's enjoyed meeting his amazing employees, and he's learned a lot about their problems and fears, and he's now invited all of them to his office to reveal his true identity.
I'm Denny Slagle, CEO of Mack Trucks.
Okay.
I'm also Roger Donovan.
My. Now I can see you.
First in was Tracy, and he tells her that he likes how efficient and meticulous she is, and tells her that she'll be receiving the company's Innovation Award, and then offers to pay for a vacation for her and her family.
You think, is anybody gonna notice what I'm doing? And then you get appreciated. I'm shaking.
Next in was Mike, and he tells him that he's heard his concern and that he will do his part to help with the concerns of the employees, and then offers to send him and his family to a ball game for his favorite team. And finally, he tells him that he'll be donating $5,000 in his name to the community sports team.
And this is the biggest step in communicating with us workers that he could possibly do. That's going to pick the morale up right there.
Next in was Jeff, and he tells him that he was inspired by his craftsmanship and how he loves trucks, and then offers to donate $5,000 in his name to a veterans foundation, and he also gives him a $5,000 gift card so he can buy parts for his truck.
To get these accolades, I'll never forget this in my life. It's, what do they say? Awesome. Oh, it's awesome.
Last in was Alan, and he tells him that he was a great worker and that he was touched by his story, and then tells him that he'll be donating $5,000 to a foundation that's working on curing his grandchildren's diseases, and then he also offers to send him and his family to Disney World, and finally, he gives him a check for him and his wife so Alan can use it for what he needs.
This is from him personally.
We'll use it for the grandkids.
so many needs.